Hi guys, welcome back to another video where we are going to solve the weekly coding challenge number 39. If you're someone who took this challenge last Sunday, here are the detailed solutions for it. Also, don't forget to register yourself on the upcoming weekly coding challenge that goes live on Sunday. The link for the registration will be in the description below. So, without wasting any more time, let's get into it. We are going to solve the first question of weekly coding challenge number 39, that is shadow pair merging. Now our problem states that in a shadow realm, two armies are forming alliances using secret numbers. You are given two strictly increasing arrays A and B of size n and m respectively. Each number represents a secret strength. An alliance is formed by selecting a pair ij such that ai is less than bj and ai plus bj is less than equals to t. The same index from A or B cannot be reused in another alliance. Your task is to maximize the number of such disjoint alliances. So let's check out our example for this. So firstly we have 3, that is the size of array 1, and then we again have 3, that is the size of array 2, and 8 is the threshold in our case. So if we start with our first group, that is 1 and 5. So sorry, 5. So this follows the first condition that 1 is less than 5. So that is correct. And 1 plus 5 is equals to 6. And this is less than equals to 8. So this condition is also correct. So we can say that 1 and 5 is a valid pair. So our answer becomes 1. Now we'll check for 4 and 6. 4 and 6 because we can't take one index more than once. So we'll shift both I and j. And now we are going to check for 4 and 6. Now 4 is less than 6, which is correct, but 4 plus 6 is equals to 10. And this is less than equals to 8. No, it's not. So this is not a valid condition. So we stop here. Because if 4 and 6 violate the condition of being greater than 8, then obviously the numbers after it will also violate it. So our answer is 1. Answer is going to be 1 at the end. Let's see another example. Now in this example, the size of array 1 is 4 and the size of array 2 is 5, and the threshold in our case is 20. So let's start with the first one, 1 and 6. Now we see that 1 is less than 6 and 1 plus 6 equals to 7, that is less than equals to 20. So this is a valid case, 1 and 6 is a valid case, so our answer becomes 1. Now let's check for another group, that is 5 and 7. So 5 is less than 7. So this is a valid condition. But 5 plus 7 is equals to what? 12. Which is less than equals to 20. So this is also a correct condition. So we'll just increment one error answer because this pair is also correct. Now we'll check for 10 and 11. Now we see that 10 and 11 do follow the first condition that 10 is less than 11, but 10 plus 11 is 21, which is not less than equals to 20. It is greater than 20. So that means we have to stop here because if this is violating our condition, then all the values after it are obviously going to violate our condition. And at the end, our answer is only going to be 2. So our answer here is 2. So let's jump to the code directly. We have first initialize our answer as 0 and I and j are going to be the pointers. I will be for A and j will be for B. Now while I is less than n and j is less than m, that will be our base condition. We are going to check if ai is less than bj, and if ai plus bj is less than t, then just increment the answer and increment both these pointers. But if this is not the case, then we'll check our I with all the values of j first. So we'll increment j in that case and at the end just return the answer. So let's try to compile our code. So it's correct. Let's submit it. So this is the correct answer. So I hope you have understood the whole approach and how we got to this solution. going to solve the next question from the weekly coding challenge, that is memory chain realignment. Now let's understand the problem statement first. You are given a sequence of dynamically allocated memory blocks, each containing an integer and a pointer to the next block, like a single linked list. However, the memory has been corrupted due to a faulty memory allocator and the blocks are out of order. Each block also contains a position tag from the integer 1 to n that tells where it should be placed in the correct chain. Your task is to relink the memory blocks using only pointer manipulations, no extra aerial memory should be used, so that they form a valid ordered linked list according to their position tag. After that, return the sum of the next first k values realigned in the memory chain. So let's see the example first. So firstly, we are given a memory chain that looks like this. It's in the form of a tuple first, and we have six values because we are given six over here. So if we see that these values in a linked list would look like what? We have this, then we have this, then we have this, then we have this, and then we have this, then we have this, and all of them are connected with a pointer. Okay, so this is how the linked list is in the beginning. Now we want to arrange them according to their order. That means this order should be arranged as per their numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. So our linked list will look like 10, comma 1. Then we'll have 20, comma 2. Then we are going to have 50, comma 3. Then we'll have 70, comma 4. Then we have 90, comma 5. And then we are going to have 100, comma 6. So this is what the linked list is going to look like after the rearrangement. And now it's saying us that we need to find the sum of the first k values. K in this case is 4. So the sum of first 4 values will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now if we sum these values, the answer will be 10 plus 20 plus 50 plus 70. So the answer is going to be 70, 80, 90, 100 and 150. So the answer in this case is going to be 150. As you see, this is correct. So the question is clearly stating that we can't use any extra array or any extra memory data structure like map, set, or vector to sort this. We need to use a pointer itself. So what we are going to do, we'll first make a linked list from this value that we are given over here. First, we'll make a linked list. After that, we are going to make another linked list after checking whether the value over here is greater than or lesser than the current value that we have in our initial head. And once we have made the correct linked list with correct alignment, we are going to find the sum of first k values. So let's just directly jump to the code. First of all, we are going to make a sorted head and make this as our null pointer. Now this sorted head is going to be this, from where we are going to start the correct linked list. Now after that, till the time our head is available and it's not null, we are going to take the head and next we are going to change the pointer of head next to null pointer and we are going to insert this head next to our sorted head. Now let's see what we are doing in this sorted insert sorted. Firstly, we are checking that if it is not empty and the new position is less than the sorted head position that inserted at the beginning and change the pointer of sorted head. But if we come across a case that for example we have 3, 1 over here and 4 over here and we have to insert 3 in the beginning. Then we can't check from this and this directly. We need to add it in the beginning, right? So for that case, we need to iterate it one by one from the whole list and see which position is correctly apt for this to be inserted. So this is what we are doing over here and we're checking If this current position is less than the new node position, then just increment it. Else, if we are reached a position that is not following this case, then just add the linked list over here. And once this is done, we'll find a linked list that is correctly aligned. Now, after that, we are going to initialize our sum as 0 and take the sum till the point I reaches k. And this is what we're doing over here. And at the end, just return the sum. So let's try to compile our code. And it's correct. Let's submit it. And it's correct. So I hope you've understood how we came across this approach of finding the sum of first k element without using any additional data structure of array or vector and just using a pointer. So discuss the last question of the weekly coding challenge number 39, that is memory trace rewriting. Now our problem states that in a secure embedded system, memory is organized as a linked list, linked memory trace, where each memory block contains one unique block ID, then a value, and the next pointer that points to the next memory block. Due to a failed firmware update, some of the next pointers are misaligned. You are provided with a pointer to the start of the memory trace and a list of valid memory blocks in random order. You must reconstruct the correct memory trace using pointer-based manipulations. No array or maps is allowed. Detect cycle in the trace, and if there is no cycle, return the sum of values in the valid trace. If a cycle is detected during the reconstruction, print cycle detected. So let's see the example first. So in this case, we have four values and one is going to be our head from where the whole memory trace is starting. So if we see, we have total three values. One is the memory block ID and then the value, and this is the value that it is pointing to. So we have 1 over here and the value in it is 10, and this is pointing to 2. Now in value 2 we have value as 2 and the block ID as 2 and the value as 20. Oh, yeah. Now this is pointing to 3. Here we have 3 and the value in it is 30. Now this is pointing to what? 1 again. Now you can see here that we have a cycle, right? But we still have one operation left, and that is 4 and 99. 4 and here we have 99, and this is pointing to what? Null, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so you can see that when we start from the head that is given over here, we do come across a cycle. So the output in this case is going to be cycle, or whatever was written here, cycle detected. Correct? So this is the answer, and as you can verify, this is the answer over here as well. Now let's check another example. In this case, we have 5 values, and these are the 5 values that are connected in our memory block. So let's just make the visual representation for this as well. Firstly, we have 101 as the value in it, as the block ID, and the value in it is 10. Now this is pointing to 102. 102 and the value in it is 20. Correct? So now we have another one, that is, this is pointing to 103. 103 and the value in it is 30. Now we have this pointing to 104. And this is pointing to 40. Now this is pointing to what? -1, which is null. So here it is null again. And then we have the last operation, that is block ID 999. Oh, this is pointing to 101, right? So we'll just make it over here for easier access. So we have value 999 and this is pointing, this has the value 50, little bit distorted, and this is pointing to what? 101. So if you see, our head in this case is 101. If we start from 101, we don't come across any cycle because no pair is connected completely. This goes to 102, 103, 104, but then 104 does not go back to 101. It goes to null. So we don't come across a cycle. So the output is not going to be cycle detected because there is no cycle in this case. But the question stated that if there is no cycle, then return the total sum of values from the head till the last value that we have in that respective chain. So when we start from 101, our sum will be 0 initially. Now at 101 it becomes 10. Then at 102 it becomes 10 plus 20, which is what? 30. Now at 103 it becomes 30 plus 30 again, which is 60. Now here it becomes 60 plus 40, which becomes 100. And then it goes back to null. So the answer in this case is going to be 100. Correct? So without wasting any much time in the approach, let's jump to the code directly. So in this case, we need to make the whole linked list or the whole approach that the graph is flowing in first. So first of all, I've made an unordered map and this is going to store our block ID with respect to the node. And then we also have another unordered map that is going to store the block ID with respect to the value that it is pointing as the next node. What I mean here is 101 and 102, 102 and 103, 103 and 104. This is what we are going to store in the next ID map. Block ID with respect to the next node ID. Now we are going to iterate over our blocks and we are going to firstly store these values in our ID map and next ID map. Now using these two unordered maps, we are going to make a whole linked list from this. So we have firstly stored all the values over here, as you can check. Now after that we are iterating in our ID map and checking what the next ID is. If it is not equals to -1 and ID map does have that value, then we are going to change the pointer and add it to this directly. Now once this is done, we have this structure. Okay, once we have made this structure, I'm going to make an unordered set that is going to store the visited nodes. Set to store the visited nodes. Now why are we doing this? Because in order to detect a cycle, we need to know the node that we have once visited or not. So this is why we are going to make this. Now after that, we are going to start from our head and initializing our sum as 0. Now while our head is not null, We check if visited has already seen this value or not. If yes, visited has already seen this value, that means it is a cycle. That means the place that we started from we have reached that place again. So in that case, just return cycle detected. But if this is not the case, then insert that particular node in our visited vector, visited set, and add the value of the head in our sum and increment the head. And at the end, just return the sum in string format because the question is asking us for the value in string format. So just return this. Now we'll compile our code. And as you can see, this is correct. Let's submit it. Correct answer. So I hope you've understood how the whole approach is flowing from having the values as tuple. We are firstly going to store these values in unordered maps, and using those two maps, we are going to make a linked list formation from this. And once we have that linked list, we are going to check for cycle or not. And if not cycle, then add the value in our sum variable. And at the end, just return this value. And that's that for this week's question. I hope you were able to get a detailed understanding on how the three questions came to be with their brief solutions. If you're someone who's interested in coding and more weekly challenges like these, don't forget to register yourself for the upcoming coding challenges with the registration link given in the description below. Till then, stay tuned for more such amazing content coming your way, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe.